What's up, internet? My name's Ori. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. If you like this video, hit that like button, hit that notification bell. You'll never miss a video. You'll never miss a stream. Today, we're going over the 8th episode of season 34 of The Amazing Race. And to start things off, I just want to kind of talk about how nice it is that CBS has canceled The Love Boat, the real Love Boat. And now that is airing on Paramount Plus, so no longer do we have to suffer of this hour between Survivor and The Amazing Race airing. We can just watch them back to back. This happened actually last week. I didn't really talk about it much, but I just really wanted to say how nice it is that we don't have to sit through an hour of just the worst television show in the world. Like, yeah, you should kind of use that time to go get a snack, get a drink, whatever you need to do, take your time, right? Chill, and then you go on to The Amazing Race. But now it's nice to have that nice back-to-back airing of the two shows. So goodbye, The Real Love Boat. But hey, check it out on Paramount Plus if you enjoyed it. But let's jump into the episode. So we actually start off with a kind of like a forced, very, very forced, shameless ad for Expedia. Look, they got to pay the bills somehow, but I always gotta just love these like heavily handed, like, oh, you guys gotta find a place to stay tonight, use the Expedia app and you can find it. I don't know. It just was, I really love when they do those. We then are on our way to Toulouse, France, which it's somewhat of a long drive from where they are right now. The brothers, Michael and Marcus, they start off with the twins, Emily and Molly, and they're the first group to head on out. The bros actually do a very good job of crediting their navigation skills with them being able to come into first. And it wasn't just necessarily their navigation skills, it was really kind of the other teams doing really bad at the navigating, but still the navigation skills that they have are how they've gotten to where they are now. But is this a little bit foreboding? Is this going to come back up in the episode? Yes, it is. The twins are actually still kind of worried about Emily's leg injury. I actually, when I was watching the episode, I'm doing my notes and I made a prediction. Either this episode or next episode, this is going to come down to either them overcoming Emily's leg injury or it's going to be the tragic reason why they get eliminated. I could just feel that storyline coming. They're either going to make it far and overcome that injury to win, or they're tragically going to come just seconds behind because they couldn't win a foot race. So keep an eye out for that. I hope it's not the latter, because that would be a shame to see them go out when they really had a chance to, succeed and do well. All because of an injury, they would be eliminated. But keep an eye out. Keep an eye out for this in the coming episodes. Now, Team BB, Derek and Claire, they set off with Lewis and Michelle. They're kind of working together. They kind of group up. They look over the map. They try and find the best route. They kind of figure, look, if we just kind of work together, we can get ahead. We can get closer to the brothers and the twins and be able to kind of catch up and keep on going. Plus, they do also kind of highlight this little bit of a bromance that's going on between Derek and Lewis. They were doing little hand signals and high fives out the windows, half a heart up to each other. So kind of a funny little thing there. And then I also really liked the love notes that Claire was giving to Derek as he's driving. Because he's like, yeah, look, I just really bad short-term memory. So she writes them down. I look at the note and then it's written there and then I can easily find it. Quentin and Maddie, Aubrey and David, they finally head off. All the racers are on the course now. The brothers, Michael and Marcus, after talking about, how good their navigation skills were earlier, it now comes back and they don't get off at the right exit on the highway. The twins, Emily and Molly, they do get off and they actually then make it to the roadblock first. This cost the brothers tons of time. The roadblock itself, though, it's take one for the team, and it's basically rugby drills. They were working out with a championship winning pro women's rugby team, and they had to do like just a simple little drill. It didn't seem like that complicated, right? You just had to run, kind of do this little like roll tackle dummy thing, pick up the ball off the ground, pass that ball to somebody, catch one from somebody being thrown, and then do a drop kick through kind of like the field goal setup, basically like the version of a punt in American football. Which, again, didn't seem like it was too much, but definitely, like, if you were uncoordinated, I could see it being a problem for people. Because of Emily's leg injury, Molly's going to kind of take this one on. And like I said, it wasn't too bad, right? Except Molly couldn't really get the kick down. She was having trouble with that. But luckily, this was one of those roadblocks, like I said, because it was so simple, you could just kind of do it over and over again until you got it right in rapid succession. So she was able to finish up before any of the other teams even arrived, just getting enough chances to kick that ball, was able to get them on out of there. The brothers, because of their missing that exit, they actually show up just after the other two teams, Derek and Claire, Lewis and Michelle, to the roadblock. So that set them behind a lot. Lewis, Claire, and Marcus are all the ones who attempt this. Claire makes mention that when she was in college, she was recruited to try and play for the rugby team. And I will say, I can confirm there is something about college rugby teams and aggressive recruiting. I think it's something about just kind of struggling to find people dumb enough to hit each other with no pads on, because that to me just seems like a bad idea. But they do heavily try and get everyone they can to join the team, and I guess it works out because her and Lewis, they kind of crushed this. Lewis, I wasn't really too surprised with that. He seemed like he would be able to handle himself. It seems like he's throwing a football around here and there, so he was able to do it really well. Claire really well. Marcus, though, Marcus is the type of kid who, when you're playing backyard football, was always, horsing around, wrestling, or tossing the ball back and forth, but never once was he the type to kick it. There's always like a couple of the of the guys who are always like, yeah, like let's try and see how far we can kick it, and then it goes off, veering to the right and hits somebody's window, and you're like, oh no, everybody run. Marcus was that kind of kid who tried it once and then never again, because he could not make this kick. He could not make it, so he had to keep on going, and he does finish, though. He does finish just as Aubrey and David finally show up. And meanwhile, Quentin and Maddie, they're lost. They are completely just no clue where they are. They're turning around. They're looking at the maps again, trying to figure out how to get to the roadblock. Now, they do show up right as David and Aubrey finish, and Quentin, he just crushes this. So it seems like they were able to make up a lot of time, even though they were lost. They're just behind the rest of the teams. And that kind of takes us into the detour, which on the way to the detour, the twins had a pretty big lead going into this. They get lost and then get trapped in a underground parking garage. And they're like, all right, how do we get out? Oh, we got to pay to get out, but it only takes credit card. No, we only have cash. So they have to find an ATM machine. And this whole debacle ends up meaning that Derek and Claire and Lewis and Michelle actually make it to the roadblock before the twins do. So that was able to get them a bit of a heads up, an advantage going into this. As for what the detour was, they had a choice between say six or lay bricks. With say six, it was kind of like a memorization thing. They had this puzzle. There were 3 different poets along the way. They'd have 2 lines, one for each of the partners. They'd have to memorize that and then say the whole thing, all 6 lines, at the end in order to get their clue. with lay bricks. It was kind of this really kind of cool little artwork brick layout thing with sand. They had to kind of lay out the bricks, then get the okay for that, lay out the sand, and then they would be able to get their clue. Honestly, memorizing a French poem, probably not my strong suit. I probably would have went with lay bricks. Seemed like that might have been more up my alley. Most of the teams go for poem. In fact, Derek and Claire, Lewis and Michelle, who had gotten there first, they both go poem. But very quickly, Lewis and Michelle realize, like, all right, this is not for us. We have to switch. So they end up switching to go do the lay the bricks. And as they're switching, that's when the twins show up. So they're not too far behind. And they're over doing the lay the bricks. Now, the pros, they must have had even more bad navigational skills since David and Aubrey, they actually caught up to them getting to the clue box. So even though they finished just as they showed up, they were able to catch up getting to the clue. Derek, who was seemingly going to have a really easy time with the poem part, the language barrier, since he knows French. Like, he's listening to the poem line that they're supposed to memorize, and then he's translating it into what it is in English, and he's like, the door is behind the thing. So like, it's like, oh, he's got this done. If Claire can just memorize her parts, they should be fine. Well, he ends up messing up his part, which costs them a lot of time. They actually have to do it again, but not too much time, because they are able to kind of get out of there fairly quickly. And they're the first team on out, headed to the pit stop. Now, the brothers, Aubrey and David, they start on the poems with kind of mixed success. Aubrey seemed like she was doing her well. David was struggling. The brothers seemed like they weren't doing exceedingly well in this either. Meanwhile, we head over to the bricks, and it's not as simple as it kind of seemed at first, where it's just like, okay, just lay the bricks in the pattern, right? There's different size bricks. You don't want to really mix them up and make sure that you're kind of following the model that is set up. Both teams seem to do well with it, and they head on out in second and third. So Lewis and Michelle, Emily and Molly, they are on their way to the pit stop. Quentin and Maddie, they seem dead in the water at this point. They get stuck at some like automated barriers that come up out of the ground. They finally figure out how the speaker box works, so they head on over there and they get on through. But they're going to have a lot of time they're going to have to make up here with only two more teams still doing the detour. They're going to need either more navigational trouble from one of the other teams, or just completely crush this detour in order to be able to catch up. The bros finish up, and again, barring some other navigational mishap, it seemed like it was going to be down to David and Aubrey and Quentin and Maddie to be eliminated. They actually show up and start the poem as David and Aubrey are kind of continuing to struggle, but it just wasn't enough. David and Aubrey, they finish on up. And then in order, it was Derek and Claire came in first. And they actually, not only did they come in first, they won another extra little prize. Every so often they do the extra prizes. Sometimes I don't even mention it. But they got a trip to Bangkok. And yes, I'm making sure that I'm talking about this just so I get to say Bangkok. Bangkok. The second team was Lewis and Michelle. Right behind them was the twins. The bros ended up coming in fourth. David and Aubrey in fifth, and then Quentin and Maddie were eliminated. So that is your top five, your final five teams: Derek and Claire, Lewis and Michelle, Emily and Molly, Marcus and Michael, and Aubrey and David. Honestly, pretty good final five. I think I like a lot of these teams. Aubrey and David are probably the lowest down on my list. Here's my prediction going into it, though. I think they are going to end up in the final four, kind of beating out one of the other four teams that might be seen more as kind of like favorites to win at this point. So I think they're going to kind of be that one that kind of spoils it for one of the other teams. I have a fear that it might be the twins, Emily and Molly, because of like a foot race situation. I mentioned that earlier. So we'll see what happens in next week's episode, but we're almost there. We are almost to the end to find out who is the winner of the race. And it's been a pretty good season. I like it. There's been some mixed things I haven't liked, like, the no non-elimination legs. And then because of the whole Love Boat thing, we had to get 2 episodes, and it was like a 2-parter, when it was really kind of just like whatever. And then with the whole COVID elimination, that kind of stinks. But honestly, with everything that's been going on, I think they've done an incredible job with this season, with all the restrictions they've had, being able to kind of produce the show at all. With, I'm sure, just so much crazy behind the scenes work going on to keep everybody safe, is kind of an incredible feat in its own. And then to give us, a pretty entertaining season so far, I think should be applauded. But what did you guys think? Let me know in those comments down below. You can also, in those comments, find the pinned comment with the links to all my socials. You can find those in the descriptions as well. Things like my Twitter, which who knows what's going to happen with Twitter anymore. My Twitch, which I keep promising to stream, but I will. I swear I'm going to get back on Twitch, so follow me on over there. You can also join the Discord, where you can join the conversation with everything going on. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you are new here, hit that subscribe button. If you made it all the way to the end of this video, smash that like button. Hit that notification bell so you never miss a video and you never miss a stream. I once again cannot thank you enough for watching, and I will see you next time.